Hello there, Wastelanders. Welcome back to episode 4 of Fallout New Vegas Faction Warriors Tale to Wastelands Edition, brought to you by Razador of Midlothian Odyssey. And, well, you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title. We're playing as a Brotherhood Outcast. Funny enough, one of the few units who actually can feel kind of in character here, coming from Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas, being that the Brotherhood Outcasts are a lot more in line with the ideals of the West Coast. But stuff like story and plot is not the name of the game. It's trying to beat the game as fast as possible and with as few battles as possible. Now, I gotta say, straight away, feeling pretty darn good about this unit because, well, when I was looking up the inventory, I saw this, and this, and this, and this. Okay, you get the idea. There's like several different variations. There's 8 in total. There is a big gun unit, a melee unit, and I think energy weapons or small guns unit, whatever the standard one is. 8 ranks. I only got 7 of them because 2 of them overlapped, so I was like, whatever. And now, obviously, we're not going to be equipping all of this because, well, we'd be encumbered by all of it. Although we can find all these things naturally, so maybe. Now, just in case you are new here, this is your first episode, in which case, welcome. Love to see your beautiful face here. You're seeing us use the varmint rifle to shoot the sunset sarsaparilla bottles. That is allowed because, they're bottles, and we need to do this part of the tutorial in order to unlock the GeorgeKos cutscene inside of the Prospector Saloon. Believe it or not, that little cutscene is essential for our routing. Now, we're gonna go ahead and skip over selling stuff because we're just trying to build up for 2,000 bottle caps to enter the strip, whatever. Going into the Goodspring School here, I always love having a melee weapon here because it just makes things go so much faster, for me anyway. Open up that bad boy, get that stealth boy, and then we're going to head on over to GeorgeKos and pay him a little visit. And now, as we make our way over to him, not only do we want something very specific on him, it's a stealth boy, by the way, spoilers, but even his loot, like the 357 he carries, as well as his powder gang guard armor, can sell for a bit of caps and contribute to our credit check. And after finishing our Saitama homage, we're going to head east over to get the Hidden Valley fast travel point. Now, this is super important for us to be able to travel here later on. But, again, if you're new here, there's a reason why we don't just go up to the gate, get the fast travel point, and skedaddle. We want to kill the bark scorpions as well. Not only because they provide us with valuable experience points, just enough for us to hit level 2, actually, but the bark scorpion poisoning glands sell for about 18 bottle caps a pop. Those do add up. It is important to be careful here, though, because as you see, we did get hit by one of them, and I believe it's the hunters who have the poison effect. Not a big deal. We do have anti-venom. But I like to save our anti-venom just in case we get spotted by cazadors. At level 2, we always take Confirmed Bachelor or Black Widow for playing as a female because we want that additional damage to the male units. Seeing as how the overwhelming majority of enemy units in these runs are male, taking Confirmed Bachelor is just super awesome. Alright, we've about wrapped up our little pest control here. Gonna go ahead and get that fast travel point, travel back to Goodsprings, and now we're going to head north. Now, this little trick here, not only is it great for this series, but anytime you're playing, even casually, if you want to just get the great cons early, and you never have to go to them if you're siding with the Legion or Robert House. However, if you're siding with Yes Man like we do here in Faction Warriors because it's the fastest way to go, or the NCR, this is nice to have on your map real early. And honestly, if you're like me and you love your stealth boys, don't be concerned about that because, again, playing casually, you can just go to Repcon west of Novak and murder all of the Nightkin in there. And there's a safe in there that always has 2 stealth boys, so it's not like there's a shortage of these things in the game. And yes, as you saw, we are allowed to take off our armor if we're not wearing light armor in order to be able to do this little stealthy run here. Because if we're wearing power armor, we're going to get caught, and we're slower, and that kind of defeats the purpose of this routing. And as we make our way to Papacon, I gotta say, this is one of the runs I've been the most excited for because I myself am a big fan of the Outcasts. I like the power armor, I like playing as the unit. Just out of curiosity, what's your favorite Fallout 3 unit? Let me know in the comments, there's quite a few of them. I myself, Brotherhood Outcast of course, I really like the Enclave variants, the Regulators are cool, the Talon Company Mercs are cool. So we say goodbye to Papacon, we butt-boop the Poseidon gas station for that sweet 9 experience points. That does add up, believe it or not. Now, our first mandatory battle was the Praying Mantis inside a Goodspring School because we need to kill them as we make our way to GeorgeKos because if they're aggroing us, GeorgeKos gonna run away, then we'd have to chase him down, then that becomes a super pain in the butt, and we can't ambush him, so that will count as a fight too. Cook and his pack of fiends are the second mandatory fight because, well, we can technically avoid them if we're sneaky enough, But the reason why we want to kill him is because his fiends and heat drop loot that will contribute to our 2,000 credit check, and being able to kill Queenie just makes our life a lot easier. But even if we didn't kill Queenie, I'm pretty confident that we'd be able to mow these guys down. Thankfully, Cook is really broing out for us here. He did that for us, and we're going to reward him for his efforts with a good old-fashioned 1-2 punch. Without a doubt, the cleanest Cook fight we've had in the series up to this point, and I suspect it'll remain very high up there, if not the best, because, I mean, look at that. Cook killed them and we killed him. That was awesome. Now, I do make a slight pit stop into the Repcon headquarters just to get the energy weapons off the fiends and the ammo. Don't want to show that because I've shown that already. Speaking of things to show, though, obligatory mention of El Dorado Substation here. Next up is the Field Shacks. You know the drill by now, and if you don't, well, we're gonna grab the Kid Abelin BB gun here because that does sell for a good bit of caps. Again, anything that we pick up or go out of our way for, not really, it's just for the credit check. And speaking of contributors to the credit check, give it up for our man, the all-star of Faction Warriors, George boy. And man, we really want those 427 bottle caps off of him. This cracked me up while I was playing. Check this out. We don't even hit George boy. It's just the force from our power fist lifts him. I'm convinced that George boy nommed on a cyanide tablet. He's just like, nah, not this time. Just take my caps and get out of here. Understandable sentiment there, George boy. Thank you for that. We'll see you next episode. Coming up next is the artillery strike from the Boomers and Nello, so we have to go here to check off our yes man list. Now, thanks to our power armor, we're not going to take that much damage. However, because we're moving slower, that just might even out. I mean, it did with our last episode with the Enclave Hellfire Trooper, so it's probably going to happen here as well. Alright guys, place your wagers right now. When do you think we're going to get killed by the Boomers of Nellis here? I mean, we took a fair bit of damage just now, so you know it's coming. Will it be next run? Will I die in every subsequent run? Or will I never run? Let me know because I need to know how much faith you have in me. Now, although this time we won't be able to get the stuff from the lockers, minor spoiler, like 10-second spoiler, whatever, at least we're not being detected from, like, clear across the other side of the room here. Just remove the armor so we don't make noise, even though we're standing still, and we're good to go. Now, after we leave here, we make a quick stop at the Crimson Caravan, sell to Blake. Oh, real quick, what's awesome about playing as an outcast is that it doesn't count as faction armor. We'll go into detail about that as we do bizzo with our boy Dixon here. But the reason why outcast armor doesn't count as faction armor is because, I mean, yeah, it's T45, but it's black and red. The NCR doesn't know what the outcasts are, because, like, why would they? And, I mean, hey, from the NCR's perspective, they have power armor, too. Well, no. Yeah, they like to call it power armor, but we'll get to that. As far as they know, this outcast is just some random guy in T45 power armor. And they probably think that we did what they did, removing everything that makes power armor, you know, usable. And we pay Old Ben a surprising visit. He's trying to protect us, but, like, has he looked at us, man? We got power armor. He's got a suit. Also, don't be a good Samaritan. Getting tattooed by a Chinese assault rifle is the price to pay for altruism. And now, because we are playing as a male unit this time, we don't have Black Widow, we gotta go to Mr. House, we gotta do the dialogue options so that we can unlock the speech check with Swank to bypass everything, because obviously we don't have any evidence because we didn't go to any of the places to get them, except for the graveyard, but we skipped over that too. And hey, once we're done with Mr. House, we can go ahead and make the rounds, and I'm starting to think that what you're about to see is the fastest way to go, regardless of whether we have Black Widow or not. First things first, gotta check in with our man Multima here. He's gotten 4 guests over the past, like, what, a little over a week? Man, that poor guy's gotta be weirded out by this band of 4 misfits who's been barging into the Ultralux this past, what, like, week? Check in with the Almeritas, and it's Benny Motor time! With the Platinum chip in hand, it's time to make our way outside to greet yet another all-star of Faction Warriors, Wolpez Inculta. Like, seriously, we have a 10mm SMG right in his face, and his first instinct is to stuff a freaking medallion in our hands. I mean, cool, thanks for the bling. It'll make a cool trophy, I guess. And yeah, sadly, no awesome NCR trooper to spot us and just give us Ambassador Crocker's note like nothing happened. That only happens if we play as a female courier and go the Black Widow route. Or if we just kick down the door to the tops, kill everybody, but that does waste time. That would also be considered an extra fight that we don't have to take. Alright, next up is Mr. House, and I like to think that our outcast here is doing Protector Cast and real proud, and that Scribe, even though she's with Lyons Chapter, you can do a little bit of under the table trading. all that tech we're going to be turning into cash, and he's just like, what the hell is a security channel? Good job, soldier. Alright, next up, the drill obligatory mention of Ranger Dobson. Maybe one day we'll find him inside of his bunker. Maybe. I don't know. Debatable. I'm doubtful. Well, I don't know about you guys. Let's see if the NCR has amped their security over at El Dorado Substation. Heading your way, NCR. Take it away. Yup, still terrible. I mean, we're already at Hoover Dam here. Now, I will give you a quick heads up here. I had to redo Hoover Dam because I forgot to have our speech at 100 for Lanius. Not really a big deal. Because in my first run, I got 2 turbos off the Great Khans, and what we get, like, Jet. So, kind of a downgrade, but that's fine. I don't think that's going to be a problem. And, when you see what happens to the Kenturians, I don't think you're going to have much of a problem with it either. So, you remember how hard of a time we had as the Chinese Remnant Officer and the Tunnel Snake? We did run out of ammo for the Enclave Hellfire Trooper, but she did pretty well. Well, look at that. We're just straight up pasting Kenturians, and it's kind of awesome. And I'll tell you the reason why we're doing the damage that we're dealing is because we have 2 ranks in Iron Fist. When I planned this series out, I only planned for perks at level 2, 4, and 6. It's going to be Confirmed Batcher for the extra damage, of course. Educated for more skill points so we can get to speech as high as possible, and either toughness or bloody mess depending on what we're playing as. And then when I did a bit of rearranging and I got perks at every level again like you're supposed to, I was like, uh-oh, I don't know what to take. So usually I'll take Rapid Reload. In this case, I took Iron Fist because I'd be crazy not to. We are trying to go as fast as possible. And, I mean, you saw the Heavy Troopers go down even faster. That's a greater punchline than anything I could come up with. And I'm sure it won't come as a surprise to you whatsoever that we absolutely demolish any opposition en route to the generator switch. Now, I kept this part in because, again, I had to run this a second time because I was dumb and made sure that our speech did not hit 100 because I forgot to spec for it. What I did was, I put a 3rd point into Iron Fist because I was having too much fun. And, that happens from time to time. And honestly, I mean, you're seeing it for yourselves here. We have virtually no opposition here as we fist our way through the dam. Don't take that out of context. And, further evidence that I wasn't planning for perks at level 3, 5, or 7. I had been taking Comprehension so we can cut off our speech at 80 and use Meeting People. But this time around, I just bumped it up to 90 because we have the Meeting People magazine anyway, and it's going to bump us up to 100. It is the same result, although I will say that we are a little bit faster here, and the only reason for that is because I had Turbo. And I was like, oh, I have Turbo? I forgot to use that on our, I think it was the Chinese Remnant Officer. I had some Turbo in my inventory and didn't use it. Well, I wanted to write that wrong, and I had a little bit too much fun with it. And what's even better is that this is the first unit in the series who has not had to stealth by the Kenturians. We're just pummeling these guys like we're Sabin from Final Fantasy VI. Left, right, left, A. Pummel. Boom. Now, one thing that will stay the course in the name of speed and avoiding battles is that we're going to go ahead and take off our armor, drop our stealth blade before we enter the Legates camp, and we'll go ahead and speed our way on up to our usual save point. These are all intended to be first try only runs, but if I mess up with not being able to get the speed check, obviously I have to redo Hoover Dam in order to make sure that we get that speech check. I won't lie, though, I am kind of curious if we could beat Legate Lanius as we are. All evidence points to yes, but that's a challenge for another time. So, as we have a nice little chat with the Butcher of the East, he heads on back to the camp to do, just Lanius things, I guess. Make our way over to Oliver. I always keep this part played at normal speed because, just in case anyone is sensitive to flashing lights, I don't want it to be a quick blinding flash because that would be disorienting amongst other things. And yeah, we're pretty much good to go. As always, we're going to pick the 100 speech bluff option to bypass the encounter with Oliver, which wouldn't be very hard, but it is faster. And as much as I would like to toss him off of Hoover Dam, we can't do that either. Again, trying to be fast. But yeah, Brotherhood Outcast did great, even with having to run into second time. We were only about 20 seconds faster than the original, so we still would have subbed 70 minutes. Would have been very close, though. And I mentioned Regulator at the start of the run. That's what we're going to be playing as next here in Fallout New Vegas. And I'll see you guys there. Have a good one. Bye now.